Welcome to the applicant webinar for the preparation of special education, early intervention, and related services leadership personnel competition, 84325D. Please note that information in the notice inviting applications for 84325D preparation of leadership personnel will be summarized during the webinar. I strongly encourage you to read the notice carefully. Please also review the recorded webinar titled Applying for Office of Special Education Programs Discretionary Grants for additional information related to submitting an application to an OSEP grant competition. This webinar will also be posted on the OSEP Ideals at Work website. This webinar focuses on the absolute and competitive preference priorities, selection criteria, and some information specific to this particular notice. The purposes of the Personnel Development Preparation Program are to 1. Help address state-identified needs for personnel preparation in special education, early intervention, related services, and regular education to work with children, including infants and toddlers with disabilities, and 2. Ensure that those personnel have the necessary skills and knowledge derived from practices that have been determined through scientifically based research and experience to be successful in serving those children. Applicants must address one of the absolute priorities. I will go over each absolute priority in more detail next. For both absolute priorities, awards are to support an existing doctoral program, and scholars completing the program must earn a doctorate. Although grant funds cannot be used to develop a doctoral program, applicants can propose to develop a new program component or add to an existing program. Applicants can submit separate applications under Absolute Priority 1 and 2. To meet Absolute Priority 1, the applicant must support an existing doctoral program that prepares special education, early intervention, or related services leadership personnel. Applicants under this priority are proposing a doctoral program that prepares scholars who can serve in leadership positions in Institutes of Higher Ed, IHEs. Please note, clinical doctoral degrees and related services, such as a Doctor of Audiology degree, are not included under this priority. These type of preparation programs are eligible to apply for funding under CFDA 84.325K, Preparation of Interdisciplinary Personnel. To meet Absolute Priority 2, the applicant must support an existing doctoral program that prepares special education or early intervention administrators. Applicants under this priority are proposing a doctoral program that prepares scholars who can serve in leadership positions as administrators. The preparation of school principals is not included under this priority. Next, the priority requirements for both absolute priorities will be discussed, which include significance, project services, project evaluation, and required project assurances. For significance, applicants need to address the significance of the proposed projects, which include data demonstrating need, data demonstrating success of the doctoral program, expected scholar competencies, and the conceptual framework of the program. For quality of project services, applicants must address how high-quality scholars will be recruited and retained, how the project is designed to promote the competencies needed by leadership personnel, partnerships, how the components of the project prepare scholars to improve child outcomes in different settings, how scholars will be mentored, and how the project will support scholars' acquisition of skills related to communication, networking, and collaboration. For project evaluation, applicants must address how The project will evaluate whether the stated goals and objectives of the project have been met, including both project and scholar outcomes. Describe the evaluation methodologies that will be employed, and how data will be used on an ongoing basis, and ensure the evaluation results are reported in annual and final reports. There are a number of program requirements applicants must meet. Project syllabi need to be included in Appendix B. Provide assurance that the project is structured so that it will allow the scholar to complete the program by the end of the project. Assure that scholars will not be selected based on race or ethnicity. Provide assurance that scholars must be informed of service obligation requirements and sign pre-scholarship agreements and exit agreements. Provide assurance that disbursement of scholarships is the cost of attendance to the doctoral program. Obtain prior approval before enrolling additional scholars or transferring scholars. Provide assurances you're meeting the statutory requirements of 662E through H of IDEA. Provide assurance that a minimum of 65% of the total budget must go towards scholar support. Assurance that scholars will not be required to work as a condition of receiving support. Assurance that you'll follow non-discrimination requirements. Assurance that matching support that applies to absolute priority 1 only will be addressed and will be discussed later in the webinar. And assurance that that there will be budgeting for attendance for the project directors meeting. In addition, assurances that the applicant must indicate that they'll participate in the OSEP-supported cross-project opportunities. Ensure that if a website is created, it must be accessible. Provide assurance grantees, the grantee or the project will post progress on the project or university's website. Provide assurance that scholar accomplishments will be reported in the annual and final report. And assurance that annual data will be submitted as required on scholars for the purposes of scholars' service obligation and program reporting requirements. In these next slides, I will go over the selection criteria used by reviewers in evaluating each application. Under significance, applicants can receive a maximum of 10 points. There are 3 sub-criteria. Applicants should address the need for the leadership personnel being prepared, the importance of the outcomes, and the conceptual framework underlying the preparation program. Under quality of project services, applicants can receive a maximum of 45 points, and there are a number of sub-criteria. Applicants should address how the project will ensure equal access for traditionally underrepresented groups. In addition, applicants should address the quality and intensity of the project that will lead to improvements in practice among the recipients, the extent to which the proposed project constitutes a coherent, sustained program, and that the services reflect up-to-date knowledge from research and effective practice. Under quality of project evaluation, applicants can receive a maximum of 25 points. There are 4 sub-criteria. Applicants should address the evaluation methodology, the outcomes to be achieved, performance measures that are related to the intended outcomes, and how the evaluation approach will allow for timely guidance. Under quality of the management plan and adequacy of resources, applicants can receive a maximum of 20 points. There are 5 sub-criteria. Applicants should address qualifications of key personnel, the management plan, time commitments of key personnel, and the adequacy of resources and the proposed budget. Competitive preference priorities. Please note department staff will assign competitive preference priority points to applications meeting one or more of the competitive preference priorities, up to a total of 13 points. Under competitive preference priority 1, an applicant can receive 5 additional points for proposing an IHE partnership consisting of 2 or 3 institutions. Applicants will need to describe the high-need area of leadership shortages, opportunities provided to scholars through the partnership, and address the policies, procedures, standards, and fiscal management of the partnership. Additional information on group applications can be found in CFR 75.127-129. Under Competitive Preference Priority 2, an applicant can receive up to 5 additional points for additional matching support. Matching support must be addressed in the budget and budget narrative. Under Competitive Preference Priority 3, novice applicants can receive 3 additional points. Novice applicants, for the purposes of this priority, are applicants that have not had an active grant under 84.325D at any point in the preceding 5 fiscal years. Some reminders related to the budget. Once again, there's a minimum of 65% of the budget must go towards scholar support. For applicants applying under Absolute Priority 1, there is a 10% matching support requirement. For training grants, there is a restricted indirect cost rate of 8%. And there are budget limits. For a single budget period of 12 months, we will not make an award exceeding for an individual IHE $250,000, for a 2-group IHE application $500,000, and for a 3 IHE group application $750,000. Other important information for applicants include eligible applicants are IHEs and private nonprofit organizations. As for formatting, there is a recommended 50-page limit to your project narrative. It is also recommended you double-space the narrative and use at least a 12-point font. OSEP anticipates up to 70 awards for individual IHEs, but these number of awards will change depending on the number of awards made to partnership applications. OSEP also intends to fund at least 7 high-quality applications meeting the requirements under Absolute Priority 2. Thank you, and if you have additional questions, please email me at celia.rosenquist@ed.gov, or you can call at 202-245-7373.